Hey everybody, thank you for all our viewers and listeners. And welcome to the Love Room Podcast. We got a special guest today. We got the mayor of Forest Park here with us, and Mr. Rory Hoskins. I am kind of interested in getting to your background and your history, so we'll get that soon. But I want to thank my girls, Money Minded Toya, Capri, and the hottest goddess, Lady Z. Lady Z's on the move. These ladies are traveling all over the country, all over doing all kind of stuff for jobs and
jobs.
jobs.
We just going to work.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
We'll go to work then. At the end of the day. Go to work. That's what we do. But more importantly, I want to thank our sponsors. We got the Red Door Meeting Place, which is a private event location, and you can book for whatever you need there. Then we got Rhythm and Blues Cafe, which is in Forest Park, and they're going to be looking for live entertainment pretty soon, so they got to get that license, and we're looking for that. We got Stacy's Cafe in Bellwood, Illinois. They have elaborate menu, and then we have Casa de Pours that moved from Forest Park to Maywood, and last week, oh my God, they had a concert outside. They had
I did see.
they had the comedy show. You know, they're doing some great things for the village of Maywood, and you know, it's very inspiring to see that. So that's one of the things we have going is the View. Now the View had the what's that kid? Donald Alford, and he was there last night in review, and this boy's cold. He's bad, and tonight they have an event. They do the seafood event. They do open stuff for them. And then we got the Violet Shy. They say, come say hi. And you guys got a dispensary in
yes, we do.
Forest Park right now.
Okay.
Parkway Dispensary,
Parkway.
black owned, opened last week.
Is it going to be a cafe too where they can smoke in there?
No, it's not
a
on-site
cafe.
consumption, but you can buy your weed there.
You can buy your weed there.
Where is
Okay.
it located?
7432 Madison, where Doc Ryan's used to be.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Come
going to
check
be
it out.
nice.
Black owned.
Yeah, I'm going to go down.
Are they
going to
be
there and check them
utilizing
out.
the upstairs
They
too?
want to, but first things first.
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Open up
'Cause
first.
I'm trying to visualize how that looks.
And then we go there. And then, you know, we also had the Blue Note. Blue Note is always supportive. They have all kind of events. Shout out to one of the twins that used to go there all the time. He passed away the other day, and, you know, we want to show them some love too. And then we got the Chicken Shack, the Chicken Wing King. This boy, now they're in the old Stroger's Hospital building.
Okay.
Where the Hyatt is now, and they got a booth there. Well, not a booth. I'm gonna say a business. I'm thinking booths because y'all been doing all these different events, and it's been pretty good to see how you guys operate as far as getting vendors and stuff like that. But they open up a company. They open up another Chicken Shack at the old Stroger's building. So we want to thank all our sponsors and everybody for coming out. But there's a lot of action out here in this street. Did you hear about Trump's wife said that abortion, she don't like abortion. She said pro-life. And then they talked about the 3 judges that he had, and they eliminated Roe versus Wade. So it's a controversy there. But Trump said he told her to write what she believes, and which I thought was pretty cool. So it's a very interesting time, election time. Everybody, Kamala Harris got some great endorsements, and she's Cheney and his daughter, and what's the Bruce Springsteen? Is that his name? He endorsed her, so she's doing some good things. She's getting some great endorsements, and we want to also shout out to these brothers at the port,
International Longshoremen's Association,
so
ILA.
How does that work? How does
ILA is one of the largest unions in the country, and they are very prominent in the South, all along the Gulf Coast and along the Atlantic coast. And so they went on strike, but they settled today.
And then they said something like January the 16th.
They have a tentative agreement that takes them into January.
Okay.
So I doubt that either side got everything that they want. And maybe there's a little bit more that the union wants, but at least work will resume to get us through the holidays.
Okay. So then our prices of food and all that stuff won't go sky high, because if they hold all of those trucks, well, really the trailers for the trucks, if they hold all of that stuff, and then the prices are going to go sky high. But more than anything, and more important than anything, in my opinion, I was surprised to see that a few years ago, Black person won the mayorship in Forest Park, because that's an Italian, Irish type of community. They celebrate the good things, in their community. And then when I heard it was a brother, I was like, wow. So I had to do my history. And a lot of people don't know who you are. We need you tell us who you are from childhood up to where you are right now.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Chris.
Appreciate you.
My name is Rory Hoskins, and I have the privilege of serving as mayor in the village of Forest Park. We've lived there, my family and I, since 1999. We raised our children there. We sent them to the public schools. I began coaching soccer in 2003, and that's how I kind of got my name out, if you will. I used to play soccer, and the kids I coached were successful to some extent. And then they recruited me to be involved. They put me on a traffic and safety committee. Then they asked me to run for commissioner. Served as commissioner 8 years. Went to law school during that time. Our kids continued to grow and progress. We eventually put them through high school and college. And then by 2019, I was ready to run for mayor. And by the grace of God, we were successful.
Okay. And you got, what, 3 kids, 4 kids?
4 kids.
4 kids. 22, 17.
My oldest is 27. He's in the Navy. He's a pilot.
Okay.
He's in Japan right now.
Okay.
And I'm a grandfather. He blessed us with a little granddaughter. She's in Florida, where where he lives when he's back home. I have a 25-year-old daughter. She's out of state. She works for the federal government. I have a 22-year-old son. He is working on a PhD at New York University in chemistry. And then we have a 14-year-old son who's a high school freshman.
Okay. So it's been updated since your resume. Because I looked at it, I said, man, it's a 9-year difference.
Life goes on, yeah. Thanks for using that 12-year-old picture of me, too. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you still look the same. And
that's real nice of you to say that. Thank
true.
You do.
You do look the same. But there's a lot now throughout that process. You having kids, having a family there in 1999. Then you're a commissioner. What made you run for the mayorship?
When I sat there as a commissioner for 8 years, watching the previous mayor make decisions, just to be real candid, right? He's a Republican, I'm a Democrat. We run nonpartisan, but I'm a Democrat through and through. This Saturday, we'll be knocking on doors for Kamala Harris in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, just to put that out there. We want to support her all the way. But back to Forest Park. I just saw that things could be done differently. I wanted everyone to be able to participate. I wanted everyone to be able to participate in government. And so when it was my turn, I ran. When I felt like I had the base of support to be successful, then I ran.
Tell the people your background in education so they can understand that this was just not a joke. It was not a fluke. You have the experience or the background.
Sure. I grew up in Texas. I moved to Chicago when I was 24.
What part of Texas?
Galveston, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Galveston, Texas.
Over there by Houston.
Yes, that's where the Longshoremen's Union was very strong. And so I knew a lot of them growing up. That's how I know about ILA. But anyway, I went to public schools in Texas, grew up playing sports, soccer, a couple other sports, but soccer was my main sport. Went to the University of Texas, Longhorns, graduated in 1992. My bachelor's degree was in government. I worked for the Texas House of Representatives for 2.5 years, about 20, 30 hours a week while I was in college. Graduated December 92, stayed in Texas for another year or so, then moved to Chicago. When I became a parent, I decided to get active in the community. I didn't really know anybody here in terms of politics and government. But one day I heard Reverend Jackson on the radio talking about his convention. This was 1997. So I went over to the Chicago Hilton.
Operation Push.
Operation Push.
Okay.
So I attended my first Push convention. I became a volunteer. At that time, I was a graduate student at Loyola University of Chicago, working on a master's in social work. So they gave me an internship, a paid internship at Push that helped me get myself through school.
Wow, that's awesome.
We had one child at that time. And so anyway, I was able to get through school. I developed, political relationships through Push, relationships that helped me become an organizer. And then I eventually, brought those skills to the west suburbs when we moved to Forest Park in 1999.
Okay, and I understand too, as I read your resume, it's a lot of initiatives that you started in Forest Park about the Hispanic initiatives, and
we wanted everyone to be able to participate. I believe that representation matters. So in 2009, when I was about to start law school as a commissioner, we started the Juneteenth tradition in Forest Park. We started what we called the Juneteenth pool party. A lot of little children in Forest Park and their families did not necessarily know what Juneteenth was. A lot of older African Americans living in Forest Park knew what it was because the older residents tended to have stronger connections to the South, where that was more of a regular tradition.
big deal.
So anyway, we did it for a good 10 years straight, and a lot of people from neighboring communities came and validated us. Mrs. Hampton, Fred Hampton's mother, used to come every year. Ladies her age would just kind of sit around the park and watch the kids play. And we didn't, make a whole bunch of speeches and go into all the, the anguish that was part of the slavery tradition. All we wanted to do is introduce these kids to a tradition, and we knew it would take hold. That's something I saw in Chicago, right? We have such a strong community in Chicago. Business owners, political leaders, entertainers. So I just felt like the community would catch on, and it did. So that's one initiative we started. We also wanted to embrace our Hispanic neighbors in town, so we started a Hispanic Heritage Festival, and we're doing things to bring in some of our Indian neighbors and other ethnic groups in Forest Park.
It's awesome, man. And is you did you tell them about your law? You are a lawyer. You're a member of the Illinois Bar Association. How does that work? How did that come about?
Well, where I grew up in Texas, my father was the first Black lawyer in Galveston County. So as a child, people used to always say, "Are you going to be a lawyer like your daddy?" And I didn't know if I was or wasn't. Right? But I guess I felt like if I was going to be active in politics, I wanted to go ahead and continue that tradition. It means something to me to be a second generation Black attorney.
Yes, and man, listen, it's very impressive because when I read your resume and your background, I was definitely impressed. Now, being a Black mayor in the city, there's a lot of businesses and stuff like that, and you have businesses like she's relocating, and for whatever purpose it is. How do you draw businesses into the community?
So the community sells itself, right? I tell everybody that Forest Park is some of the best real estate in Cook County. 2 train lines, 20 minutes from either airport, good schools, good services. We plow the snow, we keep the streets relatively safe. We clean up the town. Our public services are really predictable. And so that's what businesses want. And then we have residents with, fortunately, they have some disposable income, right? People who will dine out and eat out and support small businesses. And we have a very strong Chamber of Commerce. So the Chamber of Commerce markets our community. And so I'm proud of the fact that we have a very diverse business ownership base along Madison Street, right? We have Black-owned businesses, Latino-owned businesses, white-owned businesses. We're moving away from more bars to more sit-down restaurants.
Okay.
And we have lots of new restaurants coming online. along.
Scratches was one of my favorite because they got that
was
lamb
nice.
burger.
We have Casa Humility. We have Casa Humility. We have Chubby's Char House. Chubby's Char House, that's a black-owned chicken place. It's Nashville hot chicken.
Where's that located?
It's actually right across. It's in the 7400 block in Madison.
Okay.
Actually, Scratch used to be there.
Right.
They took Scratch's place. So Scratch is now the public house. The owner of Scratch found a bigger location. So the public house, like I said, we have new Mexican restaurants coming on. We always have new interest.
Yeah, Fat Duck.
We have Fat Duck.
Duck Fat.
Yeah, Duck Fat Duck, whatever you want to call it. One on the corner of Harlem and Madison.
Yeah, right there.
Casa Humility is a Mexican-owned brewery, and that place is hot right now.
Is that the one on Jackson and Madison? Did they switch over?
It used to be Exit Strategy.
Yes.
But now it's Casa Humility. So it's a couple guys, the Lopez brothers. Jackson
and Madison, where you turn the corner.
Oh.
And it's Jackson, but
it's 7600 West Block.
Yeah. Right next to the Dunkin' Donuts and ice cream. Yeah.
It used to be a place called Exit or something.
Exit Strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's Casa Humility. And they're doing great business. They have food, they have beer, they have other drinks, but they brew their own beer. And their label, like I said, is called Casa Humility, Humble House.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's a beautiful thing. Now, Lady Z, just to ask you a question, you had to make a decision of moving and changing locations or whatever the case might be. What goes into that? What goes into you moving and finding another location? How does that work for you?
A lot. Mainly now, strategizing on the new location, because obviously in business, location is everything, especially if you're into retail. So you got to figure out, who your demographic is and exactly who's going to purchase what you're selling. And I made the decision because I felt like my location where I was located in Maywood just wasn't a good spot for me. So I am in the midst of strategizing, trying to figure that next move out.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. I mean, you took a lot of courage for you to step out on your own, to step out on faith, and do it, and you did well.
It took a lot of courage to step out and to make the decision to move.
Yeah, and there you go, and that's big as well.
Yeah.
So, and then now you're in the process of navigating the system and see what best fits for you.
Right.
So now, even in Forest Park, you got a Rhythm and Blues Cafe, and they're trying to get some live music in there. How does that process work?
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that. That particular bar, they don't actually have the liquor license. Someone else has the liquor license, and then that person needs to kind of figure out with what's going to happen with the actual owner, right? So that's between the person who has the license and the actual owner of the building. So they have some issues that they need to work out.
Cool. Okay, well, yeah, and that happens too when you're trying to take over something, and you want to get all of the logistics and everything straight before you make that next move. Now, over in Florida and Georgia and North Carolina, the storm kind of took a lot of people out with what they're trying to do. How does that work for the federal government to come in and assist those people when they have damages and lost their whole house? Because my sister lost her house, and it's tough in Augusta, Georgia. Nobody never knew what would happen in Augusta.
That was a horrible storm.
Yeah.
So FEMA is on the scene, Federal Emergency Management Agency, and FEMA, I think, has already declared it a disaster site. Years ago in Forest Park, we had some really tragic floods, and FEMA came out to Forest Park, and a bunch of mayors got together and made sure they knew what was happening. So they actually started issuing checks to families. They would come to your site, they would look at your basement, inspect it for damage, and within 3 or 4 days, you would have a check. I assume it's going to happen similarly in Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida, and those places. But the federal government, I believe, is on the case.
Okay.
Now, I do know a Venezuelan family who picked up and drove to Florida because they've been told that they would be paid $2,000 weekly. I wish I had known about it because I would have been in the car with him. So are you aware of that?
There's
That
a
they
lot
are
of money.
paying people?
There's a lot of money to be made in disaster recovery. Down
Okay.
there, board up businesses. Anybody with a dump truck can go down there and likely get contracts to haul away
Wow.
debris.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I grew up in the Gulf Coast, and my brother worked with a group that did that, I think, in Florida or Louisiana, one of the big storms. And so that is a specific industry, and it can be very lucrative.
Okay, let me get on the phone.
If you
and
got to
call
get
some
on
of
the
my
phone,
people.
you go.
Yeah.
Well,
I know some
I
folks
even
out
seen
there.
today they had horses
Yeah.
and mules that they was transporting medicine to certain people that were living in the mountains,
Mhm.
and they couldn't get up there with the vehicles or whatever the case
They're
may be.
organizing private planes and helicopters coming into small airports because those areas are, like you say, they're so isolated. They're using drones to locate people.
Right.
But a
Right.
lot of money to be made in disasters.
See, that just go to show we got money.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's time for
We
it.
got money. Diddy got money.
Oh,
Lord.
Diddy. You know what?
Like
Since
how
we
he just
talking about that,
transition.
what's your take on Diddy, Miss Money Minded?
Right.
Where do I begin?
Go where you want to go.
Well, I mean, this is nothing new, honestly. People have been talking about him and all of the things that they're uncovering for years. And I think that we kind of saw the calm before the storm when the whole Cassidy thing happened and the tape got released and all of those things. I hate to say you reap what you sow. Honestly, he's had such a direct impact from what is alleged on a lot of entertainers and their careers not taking off, and him just having a very forceful posture when it comes to how he engages with people. And, you know, and I think that you can be successful, you can make money, you can have an imprint on whatever it is that you're trying to touch and not have to be brute about it. And there's an ugliness that comes with most things, right? Entertainment definitely has its ugly side. But the reputation that precedes him is he's just not a fair businessman.
Well, I think what happened, as far as I'm concerned, Lady Z, you got anything that you want to say on that?
I'm so tired of Puffy at this point.
Well,
so.
And I think it's more. It's really not about Puffy,
Mhm.
but it's about the power struggle,
Yeah.
the infrastructure, and this is how I feel.
Mhm.
And I've listened to a lot of people say a lot of things
Yeah.
about this situation. I wasn't there. I don't know what the activities were or whatever the case might be, but I know what he did do. He sued one of the largest liquor distributors in the world,
Mhm.
make over $74 billion a year.
Mhm.
And he sued them, the Diego Foundation, and they bought what's that? Don Julio and De Leon
DeLeon.
from
Yeah.
the actor Clooney,
Oh,
George
George
Clooney.
Clooney.
George Clooney,
Mhm.
and they bought that from them. And Warren Buffett put in 400 and something million into the company.
Mhm.
You sued them.
Oh, it's
They're
definitely
paying you back.
conspiracy.
Yeah.
It can be conspiracy, but it's fact based regarding who he is and who a number of the individuals are in the entertainment industry, as well as politicians. I mean, this goes really deep.
Well,
and I think that he's not the only person that's going to have consequences to come along with it. I think he's the face of many others.
Yeah.
In other words, I think he's kind of the fall guy, but there's a direct correlation with how corrupt he is and the consequences that he now has to face.
yeah. Okay. Now, what I saw too the other day is that they had a picture of him and the mayor of New York.
Mhm.
And the mayor of New York has allegations against
I hope
him
you weren't at
outside
no
of Puff
party.
Daddy. Outside of
You
Diddy,
went at none of these
that-
parties where you okay now. I know you be traveling. You went at no Diddy parties.
so now the mayor has these allegations in New York against him, Now they didn't put up a picture with him and P. Diddy. How does that look for the mayor and P. Diddy?
I don't know.
It's just a picture. He
It's a
didn't know
now
what,
it's more than
what
a
he was
picture
doing at
because
that
he got
time.
allegations. Well, even
Well, they're trying to draw all kind of conclusions. He can take pictures with people. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
he can.
However, some people
With the
on them
allegations that's
videos,
behind him that he was stealing and he had some outside activities. But I just want to throw this in there too because this is what's been said that TD Jakes had to use
I knew
bottles
TD
of
Jakes was coming up.
2 bottles of
Oh, here we
the
go.
baby oil. I'm just telling you what the people said. That is on social media. I didn't say it. They said they said TD Jakes had to use 2 bottles of baby oil.
But on a serious note, though,
Okay.
he had a lot of influence on the music industry. He did some things that were groundbreaking, honestly, as far as crossing over and a number of things. However, he still just played that dirty. He entered into a territory, and I think that some of them you get entrenched in it, and you become it. In other words, it becomes you. You become it, and maybe he got in too deep. I don't know. I just know that none of his artists, if you listen to any of his artists, they have nothing positive to say about him. Nothing. And most of the folks that were on the original record label that he started are deceased. I don't think that's by accident.
Deceased, ill,
Or something along
or
those
have
lines.
fallen off the face of the earth.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx got lucky, huh?
He wasn't on the original record label.
But-
Heavy D was.
Well,
He's-
tell me this.
Yeah.
Jaguar was right there.
Yeah.
And she hasn't been sued by anybody. And
Because she's telling the
unlocked.
truth.
Right.
She's telling the truth.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, if she, as egregious as what we thought she said she was saying was, if she was not being honest, she would have been got sued. She would have been gotten sued. Unfortunately, she was telling the truth, and we're seeing that. And now everybody is like, "Oh my gosh,
She's still telling the truth.
Yeah.
she is."
Ooh,
still
she's
talking.
uncovering a whole lot of stuff. I mean, but like I say, I don't know if it's true or not because I'm not there. I wasn't in those meetings and those things, but she was there.
Yeah.
And she was one
She
of his
witnessed a
singers.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she witnessed a lot. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting how that goes. And and that's why I was bringing it up when it gets involved into politics. I mean, you're not involved in that, but this mayor of New York, he really has to cover himself. He has to make sure that he's covered. How does that work?
He's in New York. I mean,
Yeah, it's like I would feel it's like any other, interaction. If your hands are dirty and whether you're a civilian or you're in public office or whatever the case is, I mean, you're on the potential list of being, what do you call it? Investigated.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Well, anybody that's taking on that type of position, you got to be mindful of who you entertain
Yeah.
anyway.
Yep.
You've been into that business. Have you ever seen anything elevate to this level or in your?
I mean, not to that extent. I haven't been to Hollywood, but I mean, definitely, you see a lot of things that you're not supposed to see, or you deal with things that you're not supposed to deal with. Me as a female, I've probably had to deal with possibly sexual harassment, things of that nature. So it happens. So it's definitely not fake. It's believable. So it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I just think he crossed the wrong people when he played with them people in that liquor distributor, that Diego family, because they're very powerful. That's just my opinion, only. So, but when you back to the mayor, when you're having your initiative programs and you got the Hispanics and you're bringing in the Indians, you're bringing in all of that. How does that work? How do you work with the youth? What is that like?
we work very closely with District 91. This is our kindergarten through 8th grade school system.
Okay.
It's all local. So those are people who I know, the teachers, the members of the District 91 board are my neighbors. And so we keep things kind of small and local in scope. So we work with the Park District, we work with the local businesses, we get our sponsorships, but we keep it manageable and most of all safe. Right?
And that's important, safe, because what is your crime rate? How's the crime in Forest Park?
Well, I mean, there's property crime. There's not a whole lot of violent crime. We're blessed. People in our community, you can't walk down the street without being on someone's Ring camera.
Right.
And you see those Ring cameras. So the person who engages in crime, knowing that they're surrounded by Ring cameras, right? That's probably not an intelligent choice to make.
Yeah, you had a wild situation.
We also have cameras all along Madison Street. The businesses have them. The village itself has them.
Is
The
it a
state police
requirement?
has them. No, they're not a requirement. It's just what people do.
Yeah.
It's legal.
Safeguard.
I mean, I have a dog now. I was walking the dog the other day, and I looked, and someone has a camera shining right out at me. Right?
It's an easy way to be nosy.
But
I'm gonna tell you that, man.
I mean, there are communities that are called Ring camera communities,
yeah,
and they
where
have
you get
partnerships
notification.
where the police can access those cameras, for investigative purposes,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so that keeps a safer community, right? It's balancing privacy versus
Yeah.
people's desire to be safe. So if you want to do something that requires a whole lot of privacy, close your window, close your drapes, stay inside. But
Okay.
it's a safe community. Thank
So
goodness.
tell us what are some of your biggest challenges
Biggest challenge
as just being the mayor of Forest Park?
Making people feel included. You have a lot of different opinions. Everyone has strong opinions. People are dug in. They know they're right. So sometimes it's just managing expectations, managing opinions, making people feel heard, but allowing everyone to participate. And then, building consensus and moving in a direction.
Okay.
But I'm around a lot of good people, a lot of good neighbors, very supportive. And as long as you're doing the basic work, if the streets are clean, if the snow is picked up, if the garbage is picked up on time, and if the police are courteous and make people feel like they're welcome, then you have a nice community.
Right. And that's big. That's very big, because nowadays social media has changed the game of how you played as a police officer, and this camera, they put that camera up with every time something is going down, whether the police are right or wrong, they're going to be on camera.
The body camera is a police best friend. If the police are doing their job,
Right.
the body camera tells the truth. I've had people call me and tell me, well, unfortunately, people will lie sometimes. I had someone call me. I've known this woman for years, and she said, well, they made my husband lay down on the ground and called him boy and stuff. And I talked to the police. They said, we have a camera, Mayor. I called her back. I said, are you sure it happened that way? Oh, he doesn't lie. I said, there was a camera. Oh, I'll call you back.
The body camera. Okay. And that's how it works sometimes. So, I mean, listen, I'm impressed with you. Your background, your history, being the mayor of Forest Park, which is something that a lot of people like myself would never thought that would happen. You're having a black mayor in Forest Park, and you guys, you're seeking your third term. Am I correct?
So this is not an election year for me.
For you.
My next election is in 2027.
Okay.
Now, my neighboring communities, Maywood, Bellwood, Broadview, those mayors are up for re-election.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can support Nathaniel or Andre or Katrina,
Right.
and I will be supporting them.
Okay.
I'll be supporting Speaker Welch. I'll be supporting Senator Lightfoot, all of our friends. But luckily, I'm not up, so I can just concentrate on delivering services.
That makes
In other words, that's a you problem. 3 more
At
years.
least for now.
Right.
So now,
But we will be knocking on doors for Kamala Harris this weekend.
Yeah,
We'll
you
be in
said
Milwaukee with Congressman Davis, and you're welcome to come.
Yeah, he be everywhere else.
Yes.
Might as well go on to Wisconsin.
Might as well go on to
this
Milwaukee.
weekend.
on the bus.
I know how to catch the train to Milwaukee. Sterling used to play for the books, and Shannon played for the Wisconsin Herd. So they both was in Milwaukee at the same time.
Mhm.
And I used to go up there and watch them play. So I know how to get up there. But at the end of the day, tell the people, in your opinion, how important it is for early voting and how important for us to get out and vote.
It's very important to vote. It's the most important thing you can do. It doesn't cost anything. Just make the time. I'll probably vote. I like to vote early. If you vote early, then you can help other people get to the polls, right? Or you can go volunteer somewhere else, because we need to bring out every vote we can, which is why we're going to Milwaukee, because we need to maximize the vote in these battleground states. So we want to find people with the same values as us and the same sensibilities of us. And we want to make history. We want to be able to say, Madam President.
Yeah, that'll be cool too. But at the end of the day, explain to the people what battleground states are so they'll understand.
So the battleground states are about 7 states where there's really no clear majority for one party or the other, right? Illinois, all of the statewide constitutional officers, governor, lieutenant governor, AG, attorney general, comptroller, treasurer, they're all Democrats, secretary of state. But in Wisconsin, it's a very close, it's almost 50-50. And so it's about turnout. And so for the vice president to prevail in a state like Wisconsin, she is going to need a lot of votes from the urban centers, the centers that have a lot of Black people, a lot of Democrats, a lot of union members. So Milwaukee, Madison, places like Kenosha, the bigger cities in Wisconsin are going to be key. So Wisconsin's a battleground, Michigan is a battleground, Pennsylvania is a battleground, Nevada is a battleground, North Carolina is a battleground, and Arizona. Those are the battleground states.
Okay, that's awesome, man. Listen, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's
man.
a pleasure to be here with you.
You are, I mean, you speak for yourself. Let your gift speak for you. You know what you're talking about. You got the knowledge, and you got the ability. And I am surprised, but I am grateful to get a chance to meet you and know the other side of you, because you were the mystery man out of all of the 4 presidents. Everybody's like, yeah, where's that guy? So, man, but you've proven to yourself, to us, and to yourself, the job well done.
Well, thank you.
From commissioner to mayor, that's good stuff.
Did you know you were a mystery man?
I do now.
I mean, you got to get outside, man.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, what would you leave our younger people and the people in the community, in the Forest Park community or the Proviso Township? What are some of the words that you would leave with them to see that they understand how this political game works?
So Congressman Davis likes to say that you may not do politics, but politics may do you, right? So you have to know your surrounding. And we have what we refer to sometimes as your political address. So your political address, you have to know, who are the leaders in your town, know who is your state representative, know who is your senator, know who is your representative on the Cook County board, know who are the other higher officials. So if you tend to know the identities of these office holders, then chances are you'll know what's going on in the community. So it's very easy for one to learn their political address.
Okay, so you heard what he said. Learn your community. Know who your elected officials are. Know everybody that's in power. Get to know your neighbors, your business owners, and all of that. And that's part of it to help you grow as a person, because you know who the players are. And once you know who the players are, you know how to play the game. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everything you're doing. But as we get ready to end this show, I want to thank my heavyweights. I got 2 heavyweights on my team, and they make the job easier for me. So without any further ado, as we leave this show, we always tell the people, treat people the way you want to be treated and never give up. Thank you for listening to the Love Movement Podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you.